It's that time of the week where Stephanie Dobson joins us. Stephanie is a lawyer, mediator, and online educator with Hanka Divorce Law and Mediation, offices in Edmonton and here in Lloydminster. Stephanie, thank you for joining me today.
Nice to see you as always, Stacey.
Stephanie, last week we were talking about what it was like for going through the divorce and separation process if you are younger. You know, you've just had a relationship, maybe a few years. We're going to reverse it this week now and go to the other end of the scale where we're going to be talking about gray divorce. So, Stephanie, can you first just explain a little bit about what gray divorce is?
Sure. Some people might feel insulted by calling it gray divorce because it's basically couples who are separating later in life, often after the age of 50. So some people at the age of 50 say, wait a second, it's not gray yet. But, it's for those parents who have children who are almost out of the home or who have already left. And, according to many research studies, the divorce rates for those ages 50 and older has really doubled since the 1990s.
And what are some of the reasons behind gray divorce, Stephanie? You know, you think sometimes you get to a certain age and you're just like, oh, whatever, I'm just settling in, I've married 30, 40 years and that's it. So why do people, are they tending to separate or divorce at a later age?
So these are just some of my ideas of perhaps some of the reasons why there might be more gray divorce. I think one of them is changing expectations. Many people change their perspectives on marital happiness. If their personal fulfillment is not being met, individuals may seek it elsewhere. They may feel empowered. Another one is empty nest syndrome. Sometimes once your kids are now out of the house, you realize that your marital relationship has been more about parenting than about partnership. And then you start to reevaluate. Longer lifespan might be another one. So with advances in healthcare, of course, people are living longer. And as a result, people are reevaluating their life choices and seeking more meaningful connections later in life. And the last one that I thought of was more about financial independence. So more women and men are financially independent than ever before. And so it's making it easier to leave unsatisfactory marriages.
What are some things that you should consider when you are getting divorced older in life as compared to younger?
When people divorce before they're in their 50s or earlier in life, including in their 20s, what we talked about last week, there's very different considerations. Usually you're focusing on how to raise your children in two homes, how to cooperate for the sake of your children, how to divide your property so that you can start over in life technically and start to build up your net worth once again. But when people separate later in life after the age of 50, often their priorities change. Maybe the children are already out of the house, maybe they're even in post-secondary or done post-secondary, and couples may be thinking more closer to retirement thoughts than building their career. So here's a few things to consider, and of course it's by no means an exhaustive list. One is estate planning. So often we want to look at how couples want to see their accumulated wealth be passed on to their children. Retirement planning. So rather than looking at how you'll ramp up your career, often couples at this stage are looking at how they're going to be able to retire within a defined period of time. So it's a really good idea to start talking with a financial advisor and start to look at when you're considering certain settlement proposals, how does that fit in with the grander scheme, I should say, of your retirement plans. And then third is insurance plans. So as the years progress, of course, insurance becomes even harder to obtain. So, you might want to talk about how do we want to preserve the life insurance as opposed to trying to get new life insurance plans.
What are some things that people who are divorcing later in life should be thinking about when it comes to their adult children? You talked about empty nest syndrome, the kids are out of the house. So if the kids are adults, are there still things that you should be considering when going through a gray divorce?
That's a really good question because there's lots of clients who come in to me and they say, my kids are over the age of 18. We don't need to talk about them at all. And in fact, there are so many things that need to be talked about after the age of 18. So, a lot of times people want to talk about what do they do when their kids have already left home. In a way, it's harder sometimes for kids over the age of 18 because they now lose their home base. So mom and dad are moving into two homes, and the kids are having a hard time figuring out where is home for me. You know, when I come home from university or when I come home for Thanksgiving, what does that look like? So it's really important to ensure that you have open dialogue with children over the age of 18 so that they feel supported, and really so that they know that you know that it really does still affect them, but just in a different way.
All right, Stephanie. Well, great information as always. Thank you so much for joining me, and we'll be back to talk to you again next week.
Thanks, Stacey.